Welcome to the photography module of the Region 3 EHP webinar series. This module is intended to assist you in compiling materials for a complete and correct project application. Photographs are a crucial component of a project application because they help EHP staff fully understand the project scope, current conditions, and affected buildings. Proper photographs are also needed for consultation with our regulatory partners, namely the state historic preservation offices. Many times these photos are the only and final record of the properties before they are demolished or elevated. FEMA is responsible for providing State Historic Preservation Office's photo documentation in keeping with standards outlined by the National Park Service. Not receiving adequate photographs in initial project applications can result in requests for information and delays in project reviews. Everything we discussed today in this module can be found within the EHP photo guide. And I am Kelly Wiles. I'm the Environmental and Historic Preservation Hazard Mitigation Grant Program Section Supervisor based out of the Region 3 headquartered office in Philadelphia. While there are more specific tips we will discuss, the following are general rules of thumb that apply to all the photographs you submit. Do make sure each application has review quality digital color photographs of every property. Do orient the photos in landscape or horizontal display if possible. This orientation provides more space for content in the photographs. Do provide JPEGs or TIFF files of photographs. Scans of photographs from appraisal documents or application pages or Google Street View screenshots will not suffice for SHPO review. This can be achieved by submitting the original photographic files directly from the camera or phone. And if possible, do appropriately label the photographs with the address, date the photo was taken, and sides of the building that are visible, with the direction that the photographer is facing using cardinal directions, such as north, south, east, or west. First, we will go into landscape versus portrait orientation. This typically allows for more content in the frame using landscape orientation, and it is the preferred orientation for the photos of buildings. Exceptions can apply, however, such as photographing narrow or high spaces. The examples shown here show that the entire elevation of each of these buildings could not be captured in the frame, but likely could if the photo was taken in landscape orientation. And on the left-hand side of this, the left-hand photo, you can see that part of the roof line, some of the top story window is missing. In the middle photograph, there is a dormer window at the roof line, and it's unable to be captured in this portrait orientation photograph. And then finally, on the right-hand side, you can see the closest building in this line of buildings also is not fully captured in the photograph due to the portrait orientation. And again, this is a not recommended. It's also not recommended for environmentally heavy or non-architecture projects. And you could see the comparison between the two. So on the left-hand side, we do get a full shot of the project area. So we're able to see basically a larger, more full view of the area, get more context, see the height of the trees, see how many trees are in the shot compared to the right-hand side. That is basically just a very honed in view of one particular area of this project site. Landscape versus portrait mode. Also, here's a comparison when we're dealing with buildings. So on the left-hand side, this was taken in landscape mode. And this is the same building that we saw in an earlier slide where we were unable to see the dormer window. So you can look here and see that we are able to get the dormer window or the window at the roof line. We're able to see additional context of the building through this side elevation. We're also able to see the depth of the building. And we can't capture all of that in this head-on shot on the right-hand side. Additionally, landscape mode is the preferred method for EHP because this is it fits the templates we have for our state historic preservation consultations. And so these are examples of the types of graphics EHP sends in our consultation letters. As I explained in the previous slides, landscape imagery of the properties and/or project area locations are easier to insert in our graphic templates. Usually our graphics are approximately 2 4x6 photos on each page. So next we're going to talk about file formatting and how to get good photographs. So using the right file format. Again, either JPEGs or TIFF files are the best options to submit with your grant application. These file formats are sufficient to submit to external agencies like the State Historic Preservation Office or the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, should those consultations be required. Scans of photographs lead to the loss of quality of the photos, not only once through the printing, but twice through the scans. And this leads to photos being too grainy or too blown out or too dark. Once a photo is cropped from a PDF or another image type to be included in a SHPO consultation, they will once again lose a little bit of quality because they are being upscaled to fit that, again, that 4x6 template. And this again leads us to be unable to glean information about the buildings, to write proper architectural descriptions, or to properly understand the project setting or environment should a consultation with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service be required. So here are 2 examples of poor quality photos. These are photographs that were printed and then scanned in. So you can see here that these are very grainy. They also are, some, like on the right-hand side, has lost a substantial amount of color because it was already a darker image. So scanning it in almost made it really black and white. You can see that they sometimes look like watercolors because they are so warped. So you can barely make out anything that's going on in this left-hand photograph. For the building in the foreground, we're unable to see any information from the facade or the actual depth of the road or any other features. Some other examples of poor quality photographs include again, the graininess. So on the left-hand side, you can see this is a very grainy photograph, which was printed and then scanned in. And then also we try to avoid writing on photographs that are provided. So if possible, please label the photographs in the file itself, in the actual file name, and not label directly onto the photograph itself. So you can see here the comparison between the 2 photographs. So first of all, we do have on the left-hand side, we have the one photograph that was printed and then scanned in. And then this is the actual photograph on the right-hand side that was provided directly from the camera or phone from which it was taken. So you can see this is much clearer. We're able to distinguish the ridges in the metal roof. We're able to get a better understanding of the building materials and get just overall a clearer composition. So again, here are some general rules of thumb, a reprise. Again, do take photos of all 4 sides of a building in their entirety. Be sure to include outbuildings such as garages, barns, and sheds. Do make sure that there's adequate lighting and photographs to ensure that all the features of the building are legible. Do take photos at an angle which give a clear representation of the building. Also provide photographs of the surrounding streetscape for each property. This provides context. And verify that the subject property in the project application is represented in the photographs and that the supplied photographs are the correct building. You can do this by using Google Street View or Google Earth to verify. So essentially, please make sure that the photographs that are submitted for a property are correspond with that actual property and are not mislabeled. And now I'm going to go through some slides which will show the difference between the photographs of the same building, keeping some of these methods in mind. It's also important to note that sometimes addresses do not show up on Google Maps, and you should verify that these are the correct properties through using coordinates. So when stuff gets in the way, you can see on the left-hand side, this photograph was taken further away from the building, and so we're really unable to make out what's going on because of the large tree in the way, as well as just general distance. So if you are able to get on the property and get a closer shot, that is preferred. So you can see on the right hand side, we're able to make out all of the window features on this side elevation, different details of the porch and things like that. So when you're able to just bypass stuff that may be in the way of a shot, that is preferred. Again, capturing the whole building. The left-hand photo was taken with the camera not aligned at a proper angle, so the view is a bit skewed and the entirety of the front facade is not in the frame. Getting a shot head-on like the one on the right allows for the entire elevation to be in the shot. And then we have Angelic Buildings. So understandably, weather conditions may not be ideal when you go out to get photographs. Sometimes the sun may be behind the building you're photographing, which can cause it to be washed out in the actual photograph. With that, if you move around the building to get the sun out of the shot, you're able to bypass that, that halo effect that the sun may provide. With the photo on the right, you can see that the photo does kind of blur out some features of the building, namely at the top level. There is a window there, or a window opening that has been boarded up, but you're unable to see that because of the photo that's washed out. But then the photo on the right, you're able to make out more of the elevation, including that top window feature and pieces of the roof line. In the same vein, moving around the building, you can sometimes get a better shot when things are in the way. For example, you can see that taking this picture with from this particular angel has a lot of foliage, and if we're able to move around a little bit more to it looks like to the right of the building and get those trees out of the way, we were able to capture the full facade. So for infrastructure projects, we do ask you to provide photos of the limits of disturbance and the project area or the surrounding areas. If multiple sites are in a project application, make sure you do have all sites accounted for. So if there are multiple culvert upgrades or levee rehabilitations in a project application, make sure that all of those project locations are represented in the application and the photos that you provide. Do provide photos of the ground if ground disturbance is involved, and these photos should provide context or surroundings. And with this, we also suggest providing a photo key. Photo keys help the EHP staff understand the exact angles of the photos you provide. For larger projects, we will likely provide you with a photo map showing the additional photos we need as well. So we went over general do's for photography, and now we're going to go over a few general don'ts. Do not have people in the photographs. This can include owners or bystanders on porches on each of the properties, or emergency management staff in the foreground. Don't have obstructed views of the buildings if possible. This can include tree coverage, car windows, and things on the street, such as storage containers and dumpsters. Taking photos from multiple viewpoints may be necessary. Do not supply scanned photographs. Again, scanned photographs mean the quality of the photos is not only lost once through the printing, but twice through the scanning. This leads to the photos being too grainy, too blown out, or too dark. And do not digitally alter the photographs in any way, which can include cropping, resizing, or obscuring people. So here are some examples of things not to include in your photographs. The first we'll go over are fingers. So when you're taking a shot, please do ensure that your fingers are out of the view of the image and we get the full image and no additional fingers in the way. And then also writing, again, please avoid labeling photographs on the actual photograph itself. Leave that in the actual naming of the file. So avoid using Sharpie to label photographs or using text boxes in Word to identify certain photographs. And again, more things not to include. So we have people, if possible, just have people out of the shot. You could ask them to move, perhaps be the last person at the site so you could get an unobstructed view. And then also cars. If you are taking a shot of a property from your vehicle, please make sure the rear view mirror and or car window are out of view. And thank you for your time. And again, please refer to the EHP photo guide for additional information.